something like that. And the thing is, I have a pager, you have a pager, it's only a communication through messages. I have reached, I am in office, something like that. So that's how the communication revolution happened in this country in the early 90s, what I can say, 94, 95, 96. But that instrument was operational because of the technology I'm telling you. For a period of maybe 1 year or something like that, very rapid way, a very faster way, we shifted into a gadget called mobile. So when mobile was introduced, the first time which was launched in Delhi, and the whole India was looking at the kind of revolution which is going to make this mobile in '96. I think those who are sitting in the front row and professors knows it. You know that the outgoing call and incoming call. The outgoing call charges were around 16.5 rupees per one outgoing call. Maybe for incoming call, it was around somewhere around 12 to 13 rupees was the one incoming call. In the first month bill, someone received in Delhi, it was around 17,000 or 18,000. And another, some of them received a bill of up to 1 lakh. 1 month, the mobile bill. So that's how revolution in this country started. Then, lot many agencies pitched in, including the notable agency like ISRO, made a huge, that they are the game changers in the country. I could say that. A lot of revolution in the late 90s and the early 2000. You know that the people with Swaminarayan Trust group of 5, 6, they have come up with the better version of what I can say the instruments. What we could be able to see today in the Samsung Galaxy, etc., etc., etc. A lot of revolutions. You know that in the early 2000s, what we could able to see, of course, slowly people started using mobile as a communication gadget, isn't it? Then you can see the trend, how, so we have seen the pagers, the mobile, previous to that, that I remember when my families, celebrated that one marriage, there was black and white photos, and the photo wala used to take 6 or 7 months to give a photos to the newly wedded couples. After 6 or 1 year, they have to see the pictures. Then you can see that. Then there was a handycam. There was lot everything in one gadget that is in mobile. You can record, you can call, you can have a pictures. So many things. That's how the change in technology. Then, that still, it was in an infant stage in 2000, 2001, 2004, 5. I was a faculty, I could see that some of the students in the hostel, they wanted to order a food at somewhere in the restaurant. So, there was no mobile, there was only a land phone. Land phone was given where they're supposed to put 1 rupee coin and make a call. And we used to wait. We also seen this, changes. You know that 1 rupee coin, we used to give a call. It's like a missed call sometimes. We used to give a call and we used to disconnect it because the 1 rupee again we used to take it back. Then the restaurant fellow, because he used to call us back. A kind was used to call us back. And we used to take an order of the food. Suppose we used to order whatever. That's what called as a missed call revolution. There was only one phone or a two phone, which was very costly affair. We cannot make call often because 5 rupees, 6 rupees by the time, or 4 rupees. So husband is to call wife, where are you means missed call. And once she reaches the home of her mother or father, she used to give a missed call that I have reached. So that's how we were part of missed call revolution in 2004 or 5. That is a technological trend. And today, my dear friends, you see the changes in technology, particularly a lot more in the last 4 or 5 years. There are some, technologies which are game changer to the countries. What I can say, GDP, countries, technological revolution, or even countries' progress. If you look at that, recently I was talking to some IT guys. Every day there is a change. If you don't update yourself, if you don't update yourself, you will be what I can say, it's not like out of the box thinking. You will be out of sync. So today there are so many IT jobs, very handsome pay, huge pay, 15, 10, etc., etc. That is the kind of payment the person who is working in such jobs, high-paid jobs in the IT sector, need to be abreast of the technologies which are current technologies which have been developed yesterday, day before yesterday, something like that. You need to know. Otherwise, you will be out of sync. You will be thrown out of the company. That's why it is a demand for the professionals to know what kind of technologies which are emerging. Number one. In addition, if you look at the education sector as a whole, these emerging technologies have changed the landscape of education in the world and in the country. The structure of education has been changed in the last 4 or 5 years. How they are contributing, look at that kind of things. Today, for an IT professional, what I say, upbreasting is knowledge. What you can say, learning or unlearning or relearning. It may not be a necessity or desire, but he has to, because he has to keep up the pace in which he is working. It is not necessary, but he has to update himself. But if you look at the education system, how it is happening today, education scenario, the whole structure, the whole world educational system is revolving around the emerging technologies. How best we are using these technologies in education, so for that matter itself. You talk about generative AI, the kind of the those which is making in the sectors. I'm talking about be it in an industrial sector or in the education sector, generative AI. We talk about the kind of computational devices we talk about, the kind of big data analytics or data structures we talk about, the kind of the machine learning programs we talk about, how well that can simulate the basic understanding of a human being, the machine can do, artificial intelligence, how we can work with the machines or something like that, or design or something like that. It may be AI, ML, and today whole education sector which is talking about what I can say, the virtual reality. We have been talking from last 3 4 years. We need to have a laboratories, virtual reality laboratories, augmented reality laboratories. Even so, AR, VR plus is equal to mixed reality. What we can talk about, or maybe extended reality. What we can talk about. The kind of changes are you can see in the sectors. Implementation of these kind of technologies in the center, our involvement of this in the curriculum, our designing a curriculum based on these technologies to cater to the needs of present trends. Look at that. Or maybe development of operations of so many, what I can say, softwares or the programs, what we can say. See, 5G, we were talking about 2G, 3G, 4G. India was the country, that we waited almost 8 years because we were lagging behind almost 8 years when that 2G was introduced. We were lagging behind, 8 years lagging behind. And as far as 3G, almost 4 or 5 years we were behind. When the whole world was embracing 4G, we were waiting. 4 years later we embraced the technology. But as for the case of 5G, we were in forefront and we are already touching about 60 laboratories establishing in the country. So this is the kind and at faster rate, this changing technological trends. That's why we talk about 5G already at 6G already. And the advancement, we have 4D communication technology we are talking about. See, when whole world was facing COVID, that we use 2D communication interface technology, right? And by 2027, this country will be having its own 4D communication technology. What else you expect this country to do? And whole world it's like a game changer technology, 4D communication technologies. You know that. Or 5G, what we are talking about. The kind of revolution. And yeah, the impact of artificial intelligence, that I must be very happy to share that. One of the company, Mumbai-based company, Fractal Analytics, which has been working with 150 companies which have been listed as Fortune 500 companies in the world. It's a good news for as an Indian, as a technocrat in the country or something like that. So this is where, friends, I must mention this. This country has seen, sorry, as far as India is concerned. So we have seen superconductivity revolution, which was happening all the whole world. We were part of it, but we missed that revolution in early, late 80s or early 90s or something like that. This country missed the superconductivity revolution. And then another game-changing technology, like everybody spoke about nanotechnology. That also in this country missed that revolution. But you know that I could able to meet 10 years back that that uh, the person who built the current superconductor, superconductor, computer, the Vijay Bhatta. Exactly 2012-13, I was with him for 3 hours or 4 hours. Vijay Bhatta was the leading computer scientist of the country who built the Param superconductor, computer which will make some changes in the world. But we missed that revolution also. But as an youngster, I must urge all of you involved in this because this is a revolution we should not miss. The AI revolution in the country. This AI revolution, of course, a lot of things. Whether this technology is a boon or a bane. If you talk, this technology has a lot to give to the world or a society or an individual, or making the life more beautiful or something like that. The whole world is talking about datafication. The kind of data we are going to fill all the data, data into computer, whatever the data, birth date. See, people have an habit, that in mobile, if you search the mobile of any individual, they will be having all their user IDs, passwords. Use all user IDs, all their passwords, including the ATM pin, etc., etc. You will find in their mobile. Is that yes or no? Because that's how the kind of changes which we are seeing. I'm very happy to say today's kids in born in the world or in the country will be having, everyone will be having a user ID, a password of almost 4 or 5 social, what I can say, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. They will be having. The kids will be having user ID and password. That is the kind of the changes which we could able to see in the society, my dear friends. That's why. So if you talk about that, India should not miss the superconductivity. Sorry, what is that? AI revolution, which is going to have a lot of changes in the society. We talk about genomics. I was talking about 10 years back. We were talking about the golden rice. That is the kind of things, an agricultural new technology which is going to change us. So Ingo Potrikals and Peter Bayer, two Swiss scientists working for Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, are given the free of technology in 2002 to India. We are supposed to have this golden rice. Golden rice means green gold. The rice which is having more beta carotene, which is in the countries like most of the developing countries or countries which are having a vitamin deficiency, where this beta carotene will suffice them. We are supposed to have by 2020, isn't it? But it's very unfortunate because of the lot of policies. Still, it is delayed. And look at that, the kind of gene editing we're talking about, genetic editing. Thanks to the people, Human Genome Project, where they have involved and decoded, the human will be having more than 28,000 add genes. Out of this, there will be 1,000 functional genes. Out of 1,000 functional genes, which gene is more important? So today, the kind of applications the doctors are using as far as the genetic engineering or genome technology is concerned, we can give you the CD, what kind of lifespan or life you will be having it. And in addition to that, that the gene therapy, we talk about gene therapy. Gene therapy where means there are some functional genes. If the gene is not working, we can remove the gene and put a functional gene for that. Something like that. See that? So this is the kind of technologies which are being genomics, what we can see, cyber security, 5G, developing and operating, metaverse, blockchain technology, edge computing, quantum computing. So these are some of the new energy solutions. We need to have an energy solution. That this country needs very badly, particularly keeping with reference to India is concerned. We need to have more and more energy, solutions to this country. We talk about hydrogen is a very alternative, next alternative where we need to tap. We talk about kind of the batteries which are using. Lithium batteries, can we use LiPi? We talk about BPAC. We need to talk about lithium batteries or LiPi, life fidelity, the kind of technology which is going to bring a lot of changes as far as the connectivity or the internet speed is concerned. You must be very happy. You are paying 14 rupees or 12 rupees to 14 rupees per GB as an internet usage. But your counterpart in US is spending or paying almost 33 times more. Or your counterpart in UK is paying almost 5 or 6 times more. You are very fortunate to have such a wonderful people. In addition to that, the kind of, what we talk about GPS, whatever the GPS we talk about, there are more or 4 or 5 countries. I'm very happy. So when US refused to give us the GPS in 1999 during the Kargil war, the ISRO thought of developing on its own, you know, then it developed the Navik which was launched in 2018. And whatever the systems, the computers are even the mobiles you will buy. So the Navik will be inbuilt. It is a better positioning system than the GPS. So then we need to have, that's where the Atmanirbhar lies. So we need to have more technologies which have been developed on our own, for any country for that matter. Okay, so we need to build such kind of technologies with only Atma Vishwas. So we need to have more Atma Vishwas in us to have a better technologies. The kind of changes, that kind of today we all talk about online education. We all talk about, so let us not have more classroom sort of discussions. So where, the whole campus itself is a learning space. Your canteen is a learning space. And don't ask tomorrow the principal, son, let us learn in the canteen. Something like that. See that kind, the interaction, human, because you will be working in the future where a contactless sort of environment. You need not. People already started working from home. Working from home, a lot of changes it has brought. Now, online classes, digital, see, look at the kind of, so now universities are allowing, in addition to whatever which is there in the curriculum, you have some online programs or acquire some credits through online programs, online degrees, and you will be eligible, something like that. Because these are the technologies which are giving a lot of benefits. At the same time, my dear friends, so people talk these kind of technologies because when we have more automation, because automation is the one way. AI is helping, programming the vehicles, the driverless vehicles or automation, and the applications of AI, we are planning to use it in the highways. That intelligently managed tolls or traffic, intelligently managed traffic. That's where all these applications are there. So if you look at these technologies will bring you a lot of application changes. I could say game changers at that time. But at the same time, maybe these are the technologies have some sort of limitations. People are worried about job replacement. So most of the jobs will be machines which are doing. Then what will be the human nature? Because machine is going to do. So that those are the things which we are missing. That's the number one. When we talk about the security, because the day before yesterday, I received one of my colleagues received a call. This is a hack call or whatever you say that, or cyber security breach, and people say you are mobile, you are from a mobile. There are many things have been sent to so many, and they have given complaint in somewhere in the police station. You supposed to come. This is not a real call from a police. People use this, information to, fool somebody. This is where we need to be more careful. The kind of technologies also have some limitations. Then, that today people talk about online arrest. I don't know what you people must say. Online arrest. That people have a technology to arrest you online, not physical. So I'm worried because I'm not an IT engineer or an electronics engineer to know all these things. Online arrest. They will ask you to close all the doors, download Skype or something like that, come on live, close the doors, lock it here. See, so many instructions because so at the same time we need to understand the limitations of the technologies, my dear friends. I hope this 3 days event that IEEE jointly organized event with the Jain College of Engineering will be more useful to all of you. And what I could say, because you must have a habit of sitting in the hall listening to something to somebody, and you will definitely have a lot of take-home messages and learning experience we will be having. And I wish this program will be more useful to the researchers and the students. And I must congratulate the team Jain for hosting this event at Belagavi. And wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for such a knowledgeable words. So it was truly inspiration to all of us. Now I call upon Dr. H.P. Rajni ma'am to introduce our guest of honor, Muhammad Faisal bin Ahmad Fauzi.
Shubha Suprabhata. A very pleasant morning to all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and the learned audience. Nahi Gnanena Sadasham Pavitrabhyam Vidyate. Knowledge and wisdom are the ultimate sacred virtues. It's our pleasure for JCE to organize Incet 2024, a platform to spread the light of knowledge in academic and teaching research fraternity. We just now listened to Professor Rangaswamy, whose insight into the future and the game-changing technologies has really motivated not only we teachers, the academicians, the budding engineers as well. Our budding engineers should definitely take a cue from this, and they should help us to build Atmanirbhar Bharata, which has been the motto of VTU as well. Thank you, sir, for that. We now have, it's an honor and privilege to have our guest of honor, Dr. Muhammad Fauzi amidst us, who is an eminent researcher and an academician as well. Dr. Muhammad Fauzi is a highly accomplished individual with a rich background in academia, research, and professional service. He graduated in electrical and electronic engineering from Imperial College London in 1999, and then he pursued his PhD in electronics and computer science from the University of Southampton in 2004. Currently, he is serving as a professor in Faculty of Engineering, Multimedia University, Malaysia. Dr. Faisal has established himself as a leading figure in the field of signal and image processing, pattern recognition, computer vision, and biomedical informatics. Throughout his career, Dr. Faisal has made significant contributions to research. He has published over 100 journal and conference articles, and he has secured numerous research grants from national and international sources, including industry partners like TM. His expertise has been recognized through various awards, including IEEE Region 10 Outstanding Volunteer Award in 2021 and MCMC Senior Research Award in 2016. Dr. Faisal's involvement in professional organizations such as IEEE, where he serves as Executive Committee for IEEE Region 10, has facilitated the expansion of his research network and allowed him to contribute to the advancement in his field. He has held leadership positions within IEEE, including chair for the IEEE Signal Processing Society, Malaysia chapter, and chair for IEEE Malaysia section. As an educator, Dr. Faisal has played a vital role in teaching undergraduate and postgraduate students, imparting his excellence in key and emerging technologies. His commitment to education is reflected in his tenure as the director of the Center of Quality Assurance and Academic Excellence at MMU, and his continued involvement in syllabus development and research consultancy. Dr. Faisal's influence extends beyond academia through his keynote and invited speeches at international conferences, where he shares his insights and research findings with a broader audience. His contributions to the field of digital pathology and AI have been particularly notable, addressing critical issues such as tumor detection and breast carcinoma diagnosis. Dr. Muhammad uh, Faisal Fauzi's multidimensional contributions to academia, research, and professional are noteworthy, and he is a valuable asset to the global scientific community. It's with great pleasure I present Dr. Fauzi to all of you, and we expect and we look forward his continuous association with us in future as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request guest of honor, Muhammad Faisal Ahmad Fauzi, to address the gathering.
you, Chairperson. And first of all, thank you to Dr. H.P. Rajani for a very nice introduction to myself. Thank you to Dr. B.E. Rangaswamy, Registrar VTU Belgavi, Dr. J. Sivakumar, Principal and Director, Dr. B.R. Magali, HOD ECE, and last but not least, Dr. Krupala Sani, convener of the conference. It is my very good honor to join this conference. I was told that this is the fifth edition of the conference. Yes, we started in around 2020 during the COVID pandemic. Yes, but it has gone from strength to strength. I was informed with a lot of submissions. So it's my honor to join this conference. Thank you again for inviting me. In fact, thank you to Dr. Chanapi Aja. He's the one that actually first asked me if I can join. He has been asking me to become a speaker for, I think, one of the conferences in the one that is organizing here in Bangalore or in Karnataka. But I have not been able to accept that for some reasons. But finally, today, I'm very happy to be able to come here to join this 2024 Incet, or how do you pronounce it? Incet. Yes, thank you very much. I think Dr. Rajani has already mentioned, I think, very lengthy introduction to me. But again, I'm from Malaysia. I'm from Multimedia University. It is not a very big university. It's a private university. In fact, it's the first private university in Malaysia back in 1996. So we are still a young university. Prior to that, Malaysia only has public universities. Our public universities are actually very few. Okay? But we don't have many. We only have like 7 or 8 public universities. But under the then Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, so he is the one that actually improved our tertiary education. So we have now, since 1996, we have a lot of private universities. Okay, so we are the first, but now we have a lot more and more private universities. So I'm part of this multimedia university. I have been with the university for, I think, 25 years, I think since 1999. And I'm also very active with IEEE. I think IEEE Bangalore section is the technical sponsor for this conference. I started my journey. Probably I just share a bit about my journey. Yeah, I think later during the talk I'll talk more on the technical aspect of my talk. So a bit about my journey. I finished my PhD in 2004, and then after that, when I went back, I always try to find how can we, I didn't want to work in, all by myself, or I didn't want to work in silo. I always try to reach out to other people with a similar interest. So at that time, IEEE is basically just at the time they have this from Signal Processing Society, which basically, which is my field of interest. And I joined that, and then since then I've been actively involved with a lot of IEEE events. So I became the chair for the Signal Processing Society back in 2008, I think for 6 years, and then I became the chair for the Malaysia section. I'm also involved with the Region 10 Executive Committee, but only until 2022. Probably I think the CV has been written out, I think you mentioned until now, so it's actually until 2022. Since 2023, I've been with MGA Potential, a magazine. Anybody here heard of IEEE Potential? IEEE Potential. It's a magazine. I think just now that Rangaswamy mentioned about all these new technologies, new imaging technologies, and then the importance of networking. And ICT Potential is a magazine, okay, published by IEEE. We have all these transactions and so on. Those are basically very technical articles. So ICT Potential is basically more catered towards students, or especially if you just wanted to start your journey with in research. So we produce article that is basically very, in general. So it can give you a general idea. You probably can identify your interest in which particular field you want to pursue. So please do check out. Again, I will also share, I think, about this in my talk after this. Please share this. Somehow I something wrong with my eye. Please look up this ICT Potential. Okay, we can. It has a lot of articles. There is, talking about all these new imaging technologies. I think the latest are going to come out. I think soon is on the generative AI. Okay, and then we have after that space exploration, okay, quantum computing. Yeah, I think all those are something similar that the Rangaswamy mentioned just now. So I'm currently the part of an editorial board for this, so that's why I'm talking about this a bit. So please do look up. Okay. And when I was the Region 10 newsletter chair, okay, I reached out to quite a lot of student branches, chapters, sections, and India has always fascinated me. You have a lot of, students, a lot of student branch, a lot of active student branch. When I was the chair, we introduced this monthly, for example, student branch of the month, okay, so that people know, especially those very active student branch, what they are doing. So I always find myself, trying to reach out to these student branches from India, because you have all very active student branches, and you have a lot of activities that we would like to showcase that all the other student branches from all over the world, from all region 10 can benefit. And in fact, Malaysia section, okay, we don't have that many student branches as India, but we are improving. We have more and more. In fact, we are trying to follow what the student branches in India has done. I think I was informed that in Karnataka there are three student branches, right? Three subsections. Okay, and then there are 35 student branches under North Karnataka. So again, keep it up. Okay, this is a very encouraging to see. And I was informed that there are about 2,000 submissions for this conference, which is again, it's really, very impressive. Okay, I myself involved with organizing quite a few conferences. Okay, we always struggle to get high number of papers. So to hear that you no problem getting 2,000 number of submissions is basically very encouraging. Okay. Okay. One last thing I just would like to say, I think Dr. Rangaswamy just now mentioned everything a lot, all these emerging technologies, okay, and how important they are. I just would like to add a bit on that. Okay. Sometimes with all these new technologies, okay, especially those that we introduced in the West, okay, in the US, in the UK, sometimes we find ourselves that there is a gap. Okay, then we have all these new technologies. For example, I think later in my lecture also I'm going to share something about this particular issue. We have all this, AI, okay, all this generative AI, machine learning, all these new technologies ready to be implemented. But sometimes, I don't know about India, but in Malaysia, for example, in one particular field that I'm going to mention after this, on digital pathology, the infrastructure is not there yet. So even though we have all these new technologies, okay, somehow we need, we cannot really apply directly because of this, some gap, okay, on this. Okay, I'm going to talk about this a bit detail later on. So that in itself created an opportunity. Okay, so we have all these new technologies, okay, but there is, because of this gap, it created new opportunities. So these are the kind of things that we can work together. Okay, we always like to work together with, with our collaborators, okay, to work to address all these gaps. And I think from the 2000 submissions, I was informed that I think 18%, so around 300 papers. So I'm sure a lot of new ideas also is going to be presented over this 3-day conference. So I'm looking forward to also be involved in this conference. I think with that, I think I'd like to end my address here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such a precious words. Now I request our Principal and Director, Dr. J. Shukumar, sir, to present a memento to our esteemed Chief Guest, Dr. P. Rangaswamy, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Krupa Rasne, ma'am, to present a memento to our guest of honor, Dr. Muhammad Faisal bin Fauzi, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Professor B.R. Pagli, sir, to present a memento to our principal, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call Dr. Salma, ma'am, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning, the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I, Dr. Salma Shahapur, take the privilege to propose vote of thanks. I thank our management and IEEE Bangalore section for extending support to host this function, 5th IEEE Incet 2024 conference. I thank our chief guest, Dr. B. Rangaswamy sir, Registrar, DTU Belagavi, for taking out time in his busy schedule to grace this function as a chief guest. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Muhammad Faisal bin Ahmad Fauzi, sir, Multimedia University, Malaysia, for traveling all over the way to Belgaum to attend this function. Thank you, sir. I thank our beloved Principal and Director, Dr. J. Shivkumar, sir, for being constant source of his motivation to plan and organize all such mega events. I thank Dr. Krupa Rasne, ma'am, convener of this function, for organizing it in a most efficient way. I thank all deans, HODs, in particular ECE, V.R. Bagli sir, all faculty, teaching and non-teaching, for their cooperation in successfully organizing 5th IEEE Incet 2024 conference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Krupa Rasne, ma'am, convener, to say a few words regarding Incet 2022.
Just a word from the chair of Incet. Thank you, Salma ma'am, for the vote of thanks that we have given. But I would also like to thank, the people from IEEE Bangalore section, Dr. T. Srinivas, Chair IEEE Bangalore section, for technically co-sponsoring the conference. I have worked under his stalwartship and his contribution to IEEE Bangalore section, making it one of the largest sections in the whole world, with the highest members in the IEEE section. Thank you, sir, for that. I'm sure you're also online. I would also like to thank the current chair of North Karnataka subsection, Professor Ravi Osmani, for all your support and guidance in making the NKSS flourish. We are also grateful to all the principals of various institutes who are also online here today and watching our inaugural program, the invited guests, delegates, and the session chairs and session coordinators for their physical and online sessions for taking time and attending today's event. Also, special thanks to press and media for covering and giving wide publicity. And today, my words are not enough to express the gratitude to all the participants across the world, the VIPs of the conference who are attending and presenting papers in physical as well as virtual mode. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling months in advance. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated faculty. I would like to thank also Dr. Jha and his team for helping us giving wide publicity for the call of papers in this. Once again, please join me in expressing our many thanks to our chief guest and the guest of honor for taking the time to be with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. With this, we come to end of the inauguration ceremony. I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you. Thank you. Request you all to gather outside for the photo session.
काय सेटिंग काउंटर चेक करताना ते बटन मी काउंटर ऑफ आणि कुठले एकच याच्यानंतर एक आहे आणि कुठे नाही जाय सेटअप आहे मेनू आहे तेवढीच बटन आहे सेटिंग आतमध्ये आहे बाहेर येणार तुम्ही मेनू तेव्हा इथं विचारलं ते बघा मी मेनू दाखवलं lấy कैसा आपको समझने का जाता है आपको अभी क्या करना है अभी तो कोई नहीं है मैं अभी वो गया नहीं तो फिर वापस से वो ये इसका प्रॉब्लम निकालता नहीं कैमरा सेटिंग उस पे सेटिंग कैमरा नहीं सकता था रहने दो क्या प्रॉब्लम नहीं है अभी आधा घंटा है खत्म हो रहने दो चलो हाँ उठा अभी बंद करके चालू किया Display.
लाइव खाली खाली रिकॉर्डिंग बहुत करायला
मला डिस्प्ले सेटअप करायला पाहिजे. हे कॅमेरा सेटअप मध्ये
हॅलो हां
अदर फंक्शन आहे. डिस्प्ले झालं पाहिजे मला.
All those who are sitting in the 3 metal chair, please move forward.
नहीं गया तो नहीं गया क्या गया
चालू जाते हैं.
हाँ गया गया
हे चांगलं. दिसतंय का दिसत नाही. HDMI मधनं होतात ते.
इथं पण दिसत ऑडिओ काय केलं का ऑडिओ का दिला नाही तिथला आहे हो आमच्यातलं डायरेक्ट त्याचं चालू
Okay, thank you again, Jay, for inviting me as the keynote speaker for this conference. So My talk is going to be, I'm not sure how long it's going to be. Okay, you can, sometimes based on the participation, sometimes I can talk and utilize your 1 hour. Sometimes can be quite fast, but yeah, any question you can also just interrupt me if you can discuss that. So my talk today is about what we call this precision medicine. Okay, so we are going to utilize the AI, artificial intelligence, in this particular field of digital pathology, specifically for cancer treatment recommendation. Okay, so the whole idea is that even though here we're talking about cancer, specifically breast cancer, even though different people they have breast cancer and then they have the same symptoms, the same what do you call it, characteristic, the same stage, for example, the same grade, but because they are different people, the treatment, the recommended treatment could be different because of the different antibodies, different protein level, and so on for different patients. So this is basically the whole idea. Is on this cancer treatment recommendation, or in this case cancer prognosis. We are using digital pathology, and also we are utilizing artificial intelligence. So this whole process is contributing towards a precision medicine, meaning that the medicine tailored towards particular individual. So again, my name I think I've been introduced before. My name is Muhammad Faisal Fauzi. I'm from Faculty of Engineering, Multimedia University. So for this particular digital pathology, I think a few years ago we established this what we call the Research Excellence Consortium between 3 universities. So I'm at the end of it. I've also recently been appointed as the Chief Information Officer of Medianex or Medianex Private Limited. It's a small startup that we established just to try to commercialize our research output. Next. So, how many of you know about digital pathology? Have you heard about digital pathology before? How many of you heard about X-ray, CT, MRI? Okay, so X-ray, CT, MRI, okay, I think everybody knows. Okay, so I think everybody has done X-ray, because X-ray can be used to check, your body. Okay, hopefully nobody have use CT or MRI yet. Okay, but again, CT, MRI usually we use it to get more details about the information inside our body. Pathology is almost similar. It's also part of this what we call medical imaging. Okay, but here is a bit invasive. Okay, because now you need to get, in this case, once you whether through X-ray or CT or MRI, once it know that you have cancer, okay, God forbid. Now we want to know more about it. Okay, so for CT, MRI, we cannot really, we can only tell a bit about it. We cannot really tell in big detail. Here, for example, the grading, the staging of the cancer. So to do this, we need pathology. Okay, so pathology is basically once it is confirmed that you have cancer, we need to remove some tissue sample here from the cancerous area, and then we are going to do some analysis with it. So this whole thing basically is called pathology. Branch of medical science concerning examination of organs, tissues, bodily fluids, okay, in order to make a diagnosis of disease, especially cancer. It can be lung cancer as well. So others, for example, it can also be used for tuberculosis, Alzheimer's. Okay, but for cancer, it can be used for diagnosis. TB and Alzheimer's is usually used more towards post-mortem. Okay, meaning that the patient probably already there and then they want to study more about it, okay, then we use it. For cancer, we can study about it, okay, we can do the diagnosis, we can do the prognosis, okay, and then suggest a particular treatment or particular diagnosis for it. Digital pathology is now, so for the past, I think, 10 years, we have this technology, or maybe 15 years, we have this new technology to be able to scan the glass slide, the one that you see under the microscope. We can scan it very detailed. Very detailed. So, what is the current? I hope it's okay if I be a bit more interactive. Okay. What is your latest resolution of your camera or your phone camera? resolution in terms of pixels? Sorry? 5? 1? 108 megabyte. So in terms of so that's in terms of megabyte. But in terms of, let's say, resolution, how many rows, how many columns, do you know about that? No. Usually it's probably around 6,000 by 8,000 pixels. That is basically huge enough. Okay, so 6,000 by 8,000 pixels, you multiply, you get 48 million pixels. Okay, so if you say just now 100 megabyte, that's probably just a slight bigger than that. But for digital pathology, okay, you can go like 100,000 pixels by 200,000 pixels. It's really huge because they need to see the image in general, but they also need to see the image in detail. They want to see the individual cell, for example. So because of this, they need a very high resolution. So usually one digital pathology image can be like 2 gigabytes to store one case. Okay. So digital pathology is image-based environment, okay, allows for the management of information generated from a digital slide. So later we'll see. You have the slide, we digitize it, okay, and this is all made possible is through this one because it's a whole slide scanning or whole slide scanner. Okay, we have a very powerful scanner that can scan this in very huge, very detailed. Okay, so also known as visual microscopy, okay, scanning a complete microscopic slide, okay, to create a very high resolution visual slide. Next. So this is the process. Okay. So we start from the top there. So let's say now you have in this particular case we have bone marrow cancer. Okay, cancer of the bone marrow. So in order to know more details about this cancer, then you need to get some tissue sample. Okay. So once so this tissue sample you can get it from the biopsy, okay, like the image that showed there, or even surgery. So surgery basically the doctor needs to cut you open, so a bit more invasive. Okay. But the whole idea is just to get a tissue sample. If you have blood cancer, then you just need to get a sample of the blood. Okay. But if you have breast cancer or non-pancreatic cancer, so you need to get a particular tissue from that particular cancer region. So once we have this, okay, they will involve some what we call the chemical preparation or chemical staining here, okay, depending on what the doctors want to see. So we will need to prepare this particular slide. So we call it preparation or staining, okay, depending on what the doctors want to see. Okay, so different stain can highlight different information, okay, about the cancer. So we prepare this. Conventionally, we are going to see this under the microscope. Okay, we look at the microscope. Depending on the cancer, depending on the what you want to do with the cancer, sometimes the doctors can spend like 2-3 hours. For one patient, they have to look at under the microscope 2-3 hours. You can imagine there are millions of cells, okay, and then sometimes the doctors need to try to find, okay, where these cells are. Okay, so it can take like 2 to 3 hours, which is basically very time consuming. But because of the whole slide scanner technology, okay, so this is the whole slide scanner, we can scan them. Okay, so now we have digital images, but we have a very high resolution digital images. Okay, so now it becomes digital pathology. Okay. So this is example of the kind of view you see from the microscope. Okay, you see the whole tissue. Okay, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. So if you zoom in, right? If you zoom in, you're going to see, for example, in this case, individual cells. So depending on the cancer, okay, so breast cancer is a bit more advanced. So because we have a lot of cases of breast cancer, so they have a lot of studies that we done. So the way we determine, for example, the grading or the way we diagnose breast cancer also is a bit different. Okay, for example, compared to some other cancers like pancreatic, okay, or colorectal cancer and so on. Okay, next. So when we talk about digital pathology, okay, my work will be on AI, but we are not on AI yet. We just want to now from pathology to digital pathology, okay, and then after that we go into AI. So currently the process is, we follow from here. Okay, just now we mentioned about the biopsy, okay, and then we do the fixation. Okay, the processing, this is basically the processing here, okay, and then the staining here. Okay. Currently, or previously is still doing it conventional way, so we follow this pink flow here. We do conventional quality assurance. Okay, we need to do assembly and case sorting. Okay, if you want to fetch it back, we need to do case fetching. Okay, and then when we do the diagnostic, we still need to use the microscope over here. Okay. So currently, we try to remove this and then make it fully digital. Okay, now that we have a very powerful scanner, so instead of doing this way, we can now do the scanning first. Okay, and then we need to store them because now the one case is like 1 to 2 gigabytes. Okay, so that is another issue. Okay. And then in terms of quality assurance, we can do digital quality assurance. And then in terms of diagnostic, we can do digital diagnostic. This is where we can actually now apply AI or machine learning, okay, into this particular application. Okay. After that, then basically, it goes back to the reporting. Okay. This is basically what the doctors will need to do. Okay. Reporting. Okay. And in the case of glass slide, even though we scan that, clinical protocol states that the glass slide still need to be archived, okay, for certain years. So basically, we still need to do this. So this is the whole idea. So comparing the conventional diagnosis and digital diagnosis. Okay, so the conventional diagnosis, okay, the pro and cons. Of course, the pros is basically we have existing infrastructure, okay, and then the doctors are also more familiar with this. But the cons here, okay, you need to do manual eyeballing, so you need to look at under the microscope for a long time. Okay, so time consuming, okay, exhausting. Sorry, this is a typo. It should be exhausting, not exhaustive. Exhausting. Okay, and it can be prone to bias, prone to human error. Okay, so these are basically the issues that we have right now. Compare this to digital diagnosis. Okay, the con here is good because this is new technology, so you need new investment. In terms of familiarity, the doctors also not very familiar. Okay, but in terms of pros, there's a lot of pros with digital diagnosis. Okay. You can provide better views. Okay, you can reduce error, reduce turnaround time. You can improve analysis, improve the workflow. Okay, and then you can also provide a platform for more innovation. This is where the AI can come into play. Next. A bit about digital pathology in Malaysia. I'm not sure the current pathology in India. Okay, I'm sure I think some part of it is already more advanced. Okay. This is something that I mentioned just now. Even though we have all these new technologies on AI, generative AI, but for example here, digital pathology in Malaysia is yet to take off. Okay. So we don't have the digital part yet. The doctors still prefer to use microscopes. So you cannot, in this case, you cannot really utilize AI in full. Okay, because the doctors still prefer to use microscope. Okay, so most hospitals doesn't have these facilities yet, the scanner, to convert them into digital. So because of this, you cannot really do much. You cannot really employ or take advantage of this AI technology. And this is one example that I mentioned just now. There is a gap, but through this gap, there is an opportunity. So digital pathology has yet to take off in Malaysia. It currently is, with the help of our consortium here, we try to create awareness. And now it's getting to the stage of they're trying to come up with a policy and so on. So the research within this local community also is still very limited. Okay, and then because of this, okay, we established this research excellence consortium. Okay, where we work together with research lab from different universities. We try to work together, okay, and then we try to create awareness on this digital pathology, okay, help the government in terms of the policy, the guidelines, okay, and then try to make digital pathology, more accessible. Okay, and then now you can provide the platform and the infrastructure for more AI. Okay, to be. Okay, thank you. So again, as I mentioned, I'm from MMU. Okay, so this is a collaboration between 3 universities. So we have one university. This is a public university, University of Bahasa Malaysia, a very huge university. Okay. We are private university, and that is also private university, but more on the medical side. So each of us have research lab. Okay, so we combine this. We call this consortium the AI for Digital Pathology Consortium, which I'm heading. So the initial project we already completed, okay, and now we're trying to continue this. Okay. also try to commercialize whatever output that we have right now. So the goal is again to nurture interest within local researchers in this digital pathology field. We want to be the national referral point for AI. Anything about AI right now? I think in Malaysia they are having this, introducing this all this incentive on AI. But again, many different applications. So we try to be champion of this AI in pathology area and also cancer research. And we want to be this what we call this special high institution center of excellence in Malaysia University that can do a lot more research. So through this goal, we want to create talent. We want to do all this research. And then we want to, once we have this basic component, we want to try to address a bigger question or a bigger problem in digital pathology in Malaysia. For example, we have acute shortage of trained histopathologists. So through this, we can, through utilizing AI, through education, we can help train more pathologists. And then, for example, contribute to the era of precision medicine, which is the title of this talk, and improve the quality and productivity of the healthcare sector. Okay, any questions so far? Please, okay, if I just be a bit more interactive. So, so I'm talking about cancer. Specifically, we are working on this breast cancer. So as we know, breast cancer is the most common cancer occurring in women, and it's the second leading cause of cancer-related death in women. So in terms of new cases, breast cancer for female is basically leading. But in terms of estimated death, they are second. Because I think again, as I mentioned, the technology for breast cancer is probably a bit advanced compared to other cancers. So we are able to do early detection, and then we can prevent a bit of death. But still, they are second, so still quite a high number of deaths there. But this just to show that breast cancer is the most common cancer, and then the second leading cause of cancer in women. And then we want to try to work on this area. So once you have cancer, and then do you know what kind of treatment for cancer patient? Anyone? Sorry? What kind of patient? What kind of treatment that is usually recommended? It can be, for example, chemotherapy. Chemotherapy, and then it can be what else? Sorry? Ultra? Yeah, okay. And also there is this what we call the hormonal therapy. Hormonal therapy. So in our we work with pathologists, or doctors specialized in pathology, so we call it pathologists. In breast cancer, they have this, because women, they have this hormone receptor, where they can detect estrogen, they can detect progesterone, and then they can detect this HER2, or the full name is human epidermal growth factor receptor 2. These three are basically called biomarkers. This is, if you do cancer marker testing, you're going to get some information about this. So based on these three cancer biomarker, we call it hormone receptor. Based on this, the doctor can try to suggest which is the best treatment. So as I mentioned, you can have the same stage. For example, both of let's say 3 different patients, they all have the same stage. Let's say stage 2. They all have the same grade. Let's say grade 3. Again, stage is basically to determining how far the cancer has spread. Grade is determining how aggressive the cancer is. So the cancer may be not very aggressive, but it already spread to other places. Or it can be very aggressive, but still confined within the local host area. So they can have different kind of, they can have the same get the same grade, the same stage, get the same symptom, okay, but because they are different patients, okay, different women have different antibodies, different protein level, so the treatment to be recommended may be different. Okay? And the doctors can find it through this, what we call this several scores here, tolerance score, pitch score. So based on this score, okay, then they can determine, okay, so for this patient, okay, even though we have all the same symptoms, okay, this patient probably better to do hormonal therapy, the other patient probably better to do, chemotherapy or radiotherapy and so on. So for example, here this is how the scoring works. Okay, this is the score for the progesterone receptor and estrogen receptor. Okay. So from the entire slides, the slides that we have, when we scan them, we can have millions of pixels. Okay. So from those pixels, okay, we basically how the doctors do it. Okay, they cannot have time to look at the entire slide. Okay, they don't have time to look to examine all the millions of nuclei. So they can basically usually they estimate, okay, in terms of the status here, the proportion score, how much of it later we'll go into detail here. Okay, you're going to have positive cell and negative cell. How much percentage of it is actually positive? Okay, if it's 0%, totally absent of positive cells, then the score is 0. If it's less than 1%, score is 1. Okay, and then you have all these different range here. Okay, so you have together altogether score of 0 to 5. And then also we'll see later on we have different kind of intensity for the positive cell, okay, weak, moderate, strong, or weak, intermediate, strong, okay, and then you have another score here. You combine these two, you get the final tolerance score here. So based on this tolerance score, so here let's say the score is 0 and 1. Okay? So in this case, okay, hormonal therapy has no effect, okay, meaning that this patient not suitable for hormonal therapy. So we can suggest maybe chemotherapy. If score 2 and 3, then no, if you give them hormonal therapy, they have small chance of benefit. Okay? If the score is 4 to 6, they have moderate chance of benefit, okay? And then 7 to 8, they have a very good chance of benefit. So in this case, using this, we can actually now suggest, okay, possible treatment or the best treatment recommendation for that particular patient. So this is falls under the categories of precision medicine or personalized medicine, meaning that whatever the medication is given based on individual trait. Okay. Okay, now this is again, so far we discussed more on the clinical side. Okay, about the cancer, okay, about breast cancer. Okay. Now we are introducing our the technology part, okay, the machine learning, okay, the AI part. Okay. So we propose something very simple. Okay. Initially, when we propose, we don't use any deep learning technology. Okay. But of course, as we improve, okay, we introduce this deep learning, which basically have advantage of very high accuracy. But sometimes the doctors find it difficult to interpret. Okay. They find it difficult to understand. So they prefer to use, for example, traditional machine learning, which is easier to interpret, easier to explain. Okay, so each of these approaches have their own advantages. So in our cases, we use this estrogen receptor, okay, one of the biomarker, and then we evaluate the status again. And in this case, first, okay, we are going to come up with this scoring here. Okay, but we need to do 3 different things. Here first, given as image, we need to do cell detection. And then once we detect the cell, once we look, find the boundaries and so on, okay, we want to classify them. This one is quite easy. Okay, classify into positive and negative. So usually positive cell appears brownish. Okay, later we'll show some images. Negative cells appears bluish. Okay, so usually this one you can do it using a simple image processing or color processing. Okay, you can split these two already. But for the positive part, okay, we can have strong, moderate, and weak intensity. Okay, so later again, there's some images we can show afterwards. Okay. So based on these 3 classifications plus with the BM classification, positive, negative here, so now here we have 4 different classes for each individual cell. So you can, if you have millions of nuclei, then you are going to process all millions of them. Okay. we do the segmentation, okay, and then we classify them into whether they are strong, moderate, or weak. And based on that, you can do the calculation, the percentage, okay, the I score, the P score, and so on. So, if you want to know more details about this, okay, we have 2 papers discussing this. Okay, diagnostics in 2022 and IEEE Incet in 2023, okay, last year. Okay. Any questions or not? My lecture, I always ask my students if there's any question, but usually same response, no question. So okay, but later if you have any question, you can ask me at the end or ask me personally as well. So, in our initial system, we do it quite a simple one. Okay, as I mentioned initially, we don't use any deep learning. Okay, but as we progress, okay, we try to use some deep learning, those regions, those areas that we don't have to explain to the doctors. Okay, that they don't care if we use deep learning or anything. Then basically we can use that. For example, here cell detection here. Okay, we use a simple. So we use just a simple, not a very advanced deep learning. Okay, just using this. Based on this linear structure, okay, but we use regression at the end so that we can come up with a heat map, okay, to determine the cell. Okay, so in this case, the red one here indicates a high probability of cells here. So from there, we can try to do segmentation, okay, using this watershed-based boundary processing, okay, and also thresholding, okay, to come up with this cell detection. Next for VN classification, again, we haven't shown the images yet, but I think there are some examples afterwards. But previous images, as you can see, they are bluish and brownish. So usually, positive cells are brownish. Okay. Positive cell brownish hue, okay, and rather high intensity. Negative cell is bluish hue, okay, rather low intensity. So usually here we don't use any deep learning. We simply just use simple color image processing, okay, in order to distinguish between negative and positive cells. Okay. So now we're able to once we detect and segment, and then first we determine whether they are positive or negative. If it's negative, then stop there. If it's positive, then we are going to do further classification. Which basically again we use quite a simple CNN model here. Okay. So once we detect the cell, so you're going to get, so in this case this is a positive cell, okay, because it's brownish. Okay. So we crop this particular region, okay, and then we send it through to this our CNN classifier here, CNN model. Okay. Then basically we'll do all this, okay, and then the output of this is basically whether this particular cell here is strong, moderate, or weak. What do you think this one is? Strong, moderate, or weak? Any guess? Strong basically is you're having a very high intensity. Usually it's darker pixel. Weak basically is sometimes it's not very solid. Okay, sometimes you can see some kind of texture there. So this one basically falls under either strong or weak, intermediate. Okay, because quite solid here, although not very solid. Okay, so I think this one is intermediate. Okay, but you get the idea. Okay, we detect all the cells. We try to classify them into one of these intensity classes, okay, which will then be used to determine the scoring. So for the scoring, basically we don't do much. Okay, we simply just follow exactly the clinical guideline as you mentioned here. Okay, based on all the nuclei detected, okay, we calculate the proportion score. How many of them are positive? So this is after the BN classification. How many of them are classified positive? How many of them are classified negative? So in terms of percentage, so we can get this particular score here. And then in terms of the intensity just now, okay, the majority of the positive cells are they, strongly state, okay, meaning that most all of them are, having a very high solid intensity, or whether they are intermediate or whether they are weak. Okay. So once we do this, we have this two score. We call it the proportion score or P score, and intensity score or I score. we combine this, we're simply just adding them. Okay? Then we have this what we call the on-rank scoring. Okay? The one that can be used to determine, to suggest the recommendation. So the data set that we use, here we use these whole slide images scanned at 20x magnification. Okay. For this particular data set, it can be up until 80,000 by 200,000 pixels. Okay, so when we do the segmentation, we can detect millions of pixels. Okay, we have 40 of them altogether. Okay, we can have more, but the problem is to get the ground truth. Okay, for any machine learning, you need a particular ground truth. Okay, even though right now you probably can try all those weekly supervised and so on, but still we need a reliable number of ground truth in order to train the model. Okay, so this ground truth we provided by our pathologists from the University Malaya Medical Center. Okay, we upload this to our Linux lab server. Okay, for the doctors to help label them. Okay, for example, this is the label given by the doctors. Okay, for example, here this is example of a weak nuclear, weakly state nuclear. Okay, here, and then this is example of strongly state nuclear. Okay, the one dotted with red here. Okay, so you can see the difference. The yellow one is the one of example of the intermediate state nuclei. The blue one is basically the negative state nuclei. For example, the one over here. So for the setup on the detection and classification, okay, we do comprehensive annotation okay, on a small region of this. We are not able to do on the entire whole site imaging because it involves millions of pixels. So we choose small regions okay, and then ask the doctors to do annotation like this. For example, this is example of the doctors detected or labeled okay, the different nuclei okay, within this small region. And then the evaluation is based on whether the system is able to detect and classify the cells or not. Okay? Precision and recall. So, given a particular slide, so the slide can look something like this. Okay, inside under the slide, it can look something like this. We scan them. So we are going to process the entire tissue region here. Okay? And then we detect millions of cells. We do the classification, we calculate the scoring, okay, and then based on the scoring, you can suggest the recommended treatment. So quickly, just going to show, this is one of our earlier results. Okay, we have managed to improve this. Okay. In terms of cell detection, we're able to detect like 96% precision, 93% recall. PN classification is quite easy, as I mentioned. Even using just a simple color processing, you can get very high, around 99% accuracy. But WMS classification is a bit more challenging. Okay, so we are going to be able to get around 90% accuracy. Okay, for this, okay, but this is to show that we are able to detect and also classify them. So this is example okay, of the region that we tested. Okay, for example, here the last one here, okay, we are able to detect all the cells, okay, and then all of them here is dark blue, meaning that we classify them as negative. So these are all negative cells, okay, because all of them are blue. Here again, majority of them is negative, but we have a few cells detected as weak, okay, and then a few detected as I think strong here. Okay. There are a few that we miss, for example, over here. Again, our system is not perfect, okay, but as long as it doesn't affect the final recommendation, this is fine. And then these are the top two examples here. Okay, again, now you have a more region of positive cells here where you can see the red, yellow, and green marker cells. How much time do you have left? Let's continue. So now, okay, Now we do the scoring. The scoring we do it on the entire slide. Okay. So what we do is that we have this particular 40 cases. We ask the doctors to do the scoring using their own clinical routine. Meaning that they look at under the microscope. Look at very detailed. Can take 1 or 2 hours for each cases, and then come up with their scoring. And then we do the same thing, but this time using our proposed system. We detect, we classify, we calculate the scoring, and then we compare them with the doctor. So here, as you can see from here, you can see the blue one here is the score by the pathologist. The red one here is the score by the computer. So you can see most of our computer score matches with the doctor, except, for example, a few around here, a few around here, and also a few around here that we already able to identify the reason. But this is just to show that we managed to achieve almost similar scoring with the doctor. So in this case, in terms of treatment recommendation, we get accuracy of around 82.5, meaning that out of 40, 33 predicted treatment agree with the pathologist recommendation. But still, we have 7 treatment that is different from what the doctors suggested. So those are something that we need to work out. So this is an example of our GUI. So we have our scan system, and you can zoom into one particular region. So for example, you zoom into this region. So now you can show all the detected cells and then the label classification. Here it shows how many cells are detected within this region, 3075. Out of these, 21 of them are strong, 173 are moderate, 2000 plus are weak, and then I cannot see how much of negative here. You have all this automatically calculated. So the doctor doesn't have to spend so much time, hours to analyze it. So based on this, we can come up with the I score, we come up with the P score. We have another example screenshot in the next slide, and be able to do that. And subsequent experiment we do now, we use more advanced deep learning. Still I think we are still trying to use a more advanced version. But previously we are using this DenseNet, and then with a different configuration, and we're able to improve this accuracy, and again still is being improved. For example, we try to work on if we have less number of annotation. So we are using a weekly supervised, weekly label classification. We try to do that as well. And then this one again based on our latest research. This one shows the distribution of time complexity. Comparing all the different models that we tested in. For more details, you can refer to our anti-access paper. Now, as I mentioned in my address just now, we have all this technology, but again, in Malaysia, I don't know about India, probably a bit better compared to Malaysia. In Malaysia, most doctors still prefer to use microscope. When they prefer to use microscope, and then the hospital also doesn't really have the digital pathology technology, they don't have a scanner. So it's difficult to actually apply all this AI technology. So what we have proposed, so this is the opportunity that I mentioned. We want to use AI, we want to utilize AI. Right now everybody is talking about AI, but because of the lack of infrastructure here, so we kind of find some kind of a bridge, some kind of a temporary solution to bridge the gap, which in itself is quite innovation. So what happened here is the doctors can still look at the microscope, but at the same time, we stream whatever that is being viewed under the microscope here, we stream to the computer. So based on whatever the doctors are currently seeing here, so you know how to use a microscope. You can zoom them, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can go to a different region. So whatever that is being done here, okay, all will be streamed in real time to this computer. Okay. So now once we have this, so we don't have the digital and the whole slide scanner, but through this streaming, we still can get digital images. So once we have digital images here, then we are able to do our machine learning, our AI system to this. So the doctors can still do this, okay? But whenever the stream goes, okay, whenever the doctors look at it, okay, at the same time in real time, okay, the computer also doing all the detection, doing all the classification, okay, doing all the scoring, okay, and then suggesting to the doctor, okay, for this particular region, this is the summary of it. Okay? This is how many cells they detected, how many positive, how many negative, what is the I score, what is the P score, what is the all-round score, and then what is the possible recommendation for this particular treatment. Okay? If the doctors agree with it, they can make use of it. Otherwise, if the doctors think doesn't agree with it, then they can discard it. Okay? So at the end of the day, the doctors are still the one that need to sign the report, so they will be held responsible. But this is what we see as bridging the gap measure. Currently, while waiting for our hospital to be fully digital, to be fully digitized, this is how we can still make use of the AI, okay, to help the pathologist. Okay, so again, the doctors can prefer to look at the microscope. If they want to spend 1 hour, 2 hours to look at the microscope, they still can. Okay? But with this new assistance here, then probably can cut a lot of their time. Okay, so instead of spending now 1 or 2 hours, okay, they probably just spend only a fraction of that, okay, based on the help of this AI system. Okay, so we are using again here. This is the backbone of our real-time system. We are using UNet and SegNet to segment and then combine with several deep learning model, okay, in order to be able to do that in real time. Okay. I'm not going to go into detail here, but you can go to our work. But this is the screenshot. Okay. So this is this is the region that is currently being viewed under the microscope. Okay. So here we transfer over here. This is the one that the doctors, the one that the doctors currently view. So now this region is the one that we apply our algorithm. Okay. So you can see here they detect. Okay. So they detect the segment, or they detect and segment the cells. So all the segments here, all the cells here has been segmented, and then we classify them. So according to this color, the blue one here refers to the negative. Okay. The green one here refers to the positive but weak. The yellow one here refers to the positive but moderate. The red one here refers to the positive but strong state. So we also summarize it here, okay, for the doctors to see. Okay. So in this region, we have 942 cells altogether. 282 of them is negative, 600 plus is positive, and of these 600, we can further split them. 121 is weak, 510 is moderate, 29 is strong. So based on this distribution, we can calculate the percentage. Okay, this is straightforward. Okay, percentage of positive cells is 70%. So based on this, the P score is 5. The I score again based on the number of majority of the white, the positive cell, which is the moderate here. So the I score is 2. So 5 plus 2, you have the all red score of 7. Okay. So this is only for this one particular region that is currently viewed under the microscope. Okay. The doctors can move to another region and then they will continue this whole process again. Okay. But any particular region that the doctors find interesting, whether they agree or they don't agree, they can save it, okay, and then they can refer back later on in order for them to come up with a final recommendation. Okay, so this one is we do it in real time. Currently, there's still a bit of a lagging. Okay, we're still trying to do to improve that, maybe using a parallel processing and so on. Okay. We try to improve that to be real time, okay, and then meaning that in real time, wherever the doctors look at, okay, they can come up with these numbers right away. So in this case, all red score here. Anybody remember all red scoring of 7 here? What is the recommendation? cannot record already. Okay? So 7 here means this particular patient can benefit a lot from hormonal treatment. So in this particular patient, we suggest, the doctor may suggest for it to go for hormonal treatment. Okay, so that's basically, something that, what we are doing. One of the projects that we are doing right now. We have a few more other projects, but I think for this lecture, I thought that is a good thing to share. Especially, again, I'm not sure about currently the state of India digital pathology. Okay? I would assume that not all hospitals have digital pathology facilities. Okay? Maybe the advanced one or the private one. I don't know. Over here, do we have the government and private hospital? Yeah. So the private one probably they have, because they have more budget and so on. The government one, if it's anything like Malaysia, the government, so the budget is a bit, slow, a bit low, and then they don't have that facility. So this is something that we are trying to propose to our, government, our ministry, to see, if our proposed system here can actually help. Okay, we can still make use of AI, but even though they don't have the complete digital pathology facilities yet. Okay. So as a conclusion, we propose this system to help the doctors recommend a treatment. Instead of spending 1 or 2 hours per case, now the doctors can simply just do it within, let's say, few minutes only. So it's a lot of saving. So that the doctors can now focus their expertise, their much needed expertise in a more, let's say, more complicated diagnosis. Okay, so experimental result shows very promising observation. Okay, still we are trying to improve. We're still trying to use state-of-the-art deep learning. Okay, but again, sometimes the doctor doesn't like it because they cannot really. It's not really transparent. Future work, again, currently we are improving this accuracy of the system. Okay? We are reducing the computational load as well. Okay? So that's why here we introduce the real time, and also we are introducing this interactive scoring system as well. We want to extend to different markers as well. Currently we focus on one marker, ER. We have another 2 markers here that we discussed now, PR and HER2, okay, and also some other additional markers as well. Okay? And I want to integrate them for a complete hormone expression system. Basically, I think these are all my lab members, but the one that is occupying my lab is basically the one in the middle here. Okay, so if you are interested doing in master or PhD in Malaysia, okay, then email me. Okay? If I have vacancies, I can consider. Okay? But if I don't have vacancies, I maybe keep you in, in my list. Okay? And then whenever opportunity come up, okay, I can provide. So these are my collaborators. Okay. So this is, I think this 3 here is our pathologist. Okay. Or this one is from University Malaya Medical Center. He's a distinguished professor there. Then we have another 2 pathologists here working on a different hospital. They are the one helping us with the ground truth annotation and so on. Okay? And then these are my consortium collaborators. Okay? And we also have international collaborators from Japan. And also I mentioned I'm also we recently established a startup. Okay? Because we have all these research results, okay, but if you're not going to use it to commercialize, there's no point. So we established this, we call this Vidanex company here, okay, focusing on this digital pathology as well. Okay, so currently we are doing something basic, okay, but we are trying to incorporate the AI solution into this. Okay. So these are basically the team. Okay. In fact, one of them is actually my collaborators from my consortium as well. Okay, but this is basically the core team of our Vidanex. Okay. So if you're interested, okay, again, you can come and reach me. And this is the one I mentioned just now, IEEE potential. So this is a bit not related to my research. Okay. You can go and check. It's a very good starting point, okay, for students. Okay, if you want to learn more about a particular topic, usually they have a particular team issue. Okay? The article not very technical, so you don't have to worry too much about all the the equations and so on. It's more like to give you general ideas to help you understand this area better. Okay? Usually we have a team issue, one particular issue we have a focus on particular team, but some issues we basically have a catch-all, so we accept all kind of papers. Okay? So I'm a editorial board members for this. Okay? So that's why I'm trying to promote this to you because I think this is very good for students. Okay? It's a magazine, a publication dedicated to undergraduate and graduate students and also young professionals. Okay? It explores career strategies, okay? Not only technical but also career strategies, okay? Latest in research, okay? And important technical development. The articles relate to theories and also practical applications, but not too technical, okay? Highlighting the impact, okay? Foster the sharing of diverse ideas and so on. The next issue, the current call for papers issue is actually on space exploration. Anybody here doing space research? No. Okay. But if you know anyone, okay, then basically current this is supposed to be in January, February issue of 2025. Okay. So these are basically the call for papers. Okay. If you know anyone that is not working on this, you can ask them to submit this. But the upcoming one, I think the November, December issue is going to be on generative AI. Okay, so I think we have a lot of articles on generative AI. Again, not very technical. Okay, I think simple enough for everyone to understand. So it can be a kick start for you to start on this research. Okay, with that, I thank you. Okay, the last slide here, I always end with this last slide. We welcome collaboration. So if you want, to do research collaboration or joint publication, okay, student exchange, okay, sharing on this particular consortium, okay, or technical talk seminar, networking technical visits, okay, you can reach me. With that, thank you. I welcome any questions if you have one. Any question? Any general question also is fine. Or if you have a technical one, if I can answer, I will answer. But most of these are basically done by my students. Yeah.
India has done surgery with Apple vision too. Okay. Surgery. It can implement for digital pathology.
Yes. So again, I'm not. If you can brief me a bit because I'm not familiar. But what kind of surgery are they doing?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Because you perform surgery using augmented reality.
Okay. Oh, that one is using augmented reality. Yeah, I think this also, in fact, actually, one of the purpose is actually for surgery as well. For example, if you have cancer, in some part of your body that even though you have to do surgery, but probably you can still do whatever you want to do within a few within the procedure time. But when it comes to brain, especially brain cancer, okay, you are lying on the operating table. Okay, they can't open your brain. Okay, and then they remove the tissue sample. Okay, and then they need to know exactly right away based on whatever diagnosis they have from that tissue sample. They need to know right away what they need to do because the patient is lying on the table. They cannot leave him there for too long. Okay, so usually they need to whatever decision they need to make, they need to do it within let's say half an hour. Okay, so again, as I mentioned just now they have the tissue sample. Okay, they can quickly do the staining. They come up with a microscope. The glass slide. They can look at the microscope. Depending on what they want to see. Now this is basically where it takes, I mentioned it can take like 1 hour or 2 hours for the pathologist to really see because for some cancers, so again I mentioned different cancers have different ways of determining, for example, the grades and so on. For example, for blood cancer, follicular lymphoma, the doctors need to count manually. Okay? the abnormal cells. So they have millions of cells. So they need to find out how many of these are abnormal. And if it exceeds a certain threshold, then this is, let's say, higher grade. Okay, and then they need, whatever treatment is basically different. So it takes time. You can imagine you have millions, okay, and then the pressure and so on. So this is where basically this, the AI can help. Okay, so they can, they can connect to a particular whatever setup they have during the operation. Okay, and then this is where it can really help.
As I am a techie, I don't know much about medical.
Yeah.
But how the medical field is ready to adopt the AI version?
Okay. So it depends on, okay, AI has been making a lot of progress in other fields. In non-medical fields, a lot of other fields, you use AI with no issues. But for medical application, there is some what we call issues, okay, because first of all, especially if you're using deep learning or something similar that have a black box approach, meaning that because deep learning works by calculating millions of computations, okay, and then suddenly they come out with saying that okay, this is grade 3, for example. So the doctors doesn't know how actually the model say this is conclude that this is a grade 3, for example. So sometimes the doctors doesn't like that because the doctors need to know, okay, if it's grade 3 it's because of this, and this. So they all work on explainable AI, meaning that they can show a bit something that can help the doctors understand better. Okay, but still there is a work in progress. Because of that, I think in applications where the doctors doesn't really mind having, if you say that this is that, and then they come up with saying this, this is this and this is that. If the doctors think that that is fine, for example, in terms of counting, okay, if you just want to do counting like I mentioned just now, the doctors can simply just agree with it. Okay, they don't really have to verify, whether it's true or not, and so on. So if they think that that is okay, not going to affect their final recommendation and so on, so basically they can adopt, no problem. Okay, but if they come to something that they need explanation, so they need to generate a report and so on. Okay, so we can use now with generative AI. You can also ask them to write, maybe generate a report straight away. But because of the limited explainability, then even generative AI probably will have some issues there. But if they can help something like that, then probably the doctors are more willing. Okay, but otherwise, they need to come up with some report. Okay, they need to justify. So if they can, if they happy with that, then they can adopt. But so to answer your question, it depends. And if for those applications that that no issues on that part, then basically they can straight away pick it off. Otherwise, they need to have address this elephant in the room issues with deep learning, which is the platform.
General diagnosis will be done with AI, generative AI. General diagnosis, like cough, fever and all.
Sorry?
General diseases, we daily basis like
yeah, I think they are probably not. Yeah, but for example, the one with a matter of life and death, that probably is a bit more sensitive to do that. So I think the doctors also doesn't want to be not responsible and so on. So this one is a bit more. But if it's simply just a simple diagnosis, then it should be. Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
In India, basically, we talk about breast cancer. In India, if the patient is in severe condition, they will discard the part. But after discarding, how the body organ or how the body will support the entire body.
Oh, you mean after the remove, after they discard the breast? Yeah, so I think again, I'm also not from medical background. Okay, so I'm also a techie. So basically, I think for example here, there are many different treatment. Here, as I mentioned just now, you can go for chemotherapy first again, and then or radiotherapy or hormonal treatment, or in this case, if we have to remove altogether. Okay. So after that, to be honest, again, I'm not from medical background. I think they have to now the study has to be on whether the cancer will come back or not. Okay. So whether the collecting relapse, whether after a while whether the cancer will come back or not. Okay. And then so that is another part of the study. But I think your question is on whether what is it again?
How does the patient's body react to it after the study?
Oh, yeah, those are basically medical. I'm not really the right person to answer that probably. But I guess it depends on individual itself. So again, probably fall under precision methods. It based on how the individual can cope with that. Okay, sometimes you have all the the antibodies and so on. Okay, but your mind somehow is already like defeated. Okay, then again somehow it's not going to react well. But again, this is medical. I'm not a medical background, so don't quote me on this. Okay? Thank you. I hope that answers your question. Yes, go ahead.
So it was nice to hear that you are a tech techie. So I've got a question related to tech, not biology. So yes, so as we have heard that we had so much advancements in technology in India. Like currently we are using 5G technology here.
Yeah.
So what's the latest tech talk happening in Malaysia? Like are we already using 6G? And like how is the experience in technology? What is it?
Yes. Yeah, I think the 6G. I think there is some. I mean, there is a plan. It is not fully what do you call it implemented yet. Okay. So again, I think it's the 5G basically. I think it's been done. But 6G, I think is more exploration and then more in terms of study on how to, because sometimes it depends on, I think, not how to say this. Of course, we can say everyone can benefit from 6G, but again, not everyone think they need to. Okay, so there's again profit loss. What do you call it? Profit. One sector for it, I think. Return, profit return, and so on. Study and so on. Okay, this is basically more on the business side. I'm from Multimedia University, which is our parent company is TM Telecom. So again, I think Multimedia University. I think although I'm not working on that, but my colleague is actually also working on this. So basically, I'm trying to see how this can be best implemented. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question? Are you undergraduate or postgraduate? Undergrad. What course are you taking? What program or what majoring or what program? Electronic. So here you have the umbrella electronic engineering. Electronics and communication. Okay.
And then they have some core subjects as well as electives also.
Okay.
And they have some events with the electives also.
Okay. Okay.
So they need to choose something.
Okay. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Otherwise, yeah. Thank you. Okay, thank you again for having me here. So I think probably I'll pass back to.
Thank you so much, sir. So we thank Dr. Mohammed Fauzi for the interactive session, very informative session that we had here. Thank you very much, sir, on behalf of Jain College of Engineering. And when it comes to digital pathology and the use of it for especially healthcare, okay, it's definitely an emerging technology, and as some of you have noticed and some of you pointed out it, this is this could be a diagnostic tool as such. And it helps that's what how I perceive. Even I'm not an authority on that. That's how I look at it, because this is mainly a diagnostic tool which helps the medical care professionals to understand the roots of it and to maybe provide a proper treatment to it. But then when it comes to the treatment, it's the ultimate will be the human mind and body. The human mind and body are the most wonderful machines that are ever created, and they say they have the knowledge is inbuilt in the human mind and body to how to heal oneself. Provided we need to invoke that, we need to provide the proper trigger, proper stimulus to that, and that requires proper state of mind, okay, and which the proper health style is again very important because we all know prevention is better than cure. So again, proper health style is very important. Having healthy habits is very important, and realizing that we have the capacity, and through medication, in our India only, people have been relieved of so many dangerous, so-called pathologic conditions through the power of their intuition and meditation. So this would be the order of the day, and Ayurveda, the Ayush Mantralaya of India is propagating that now, and that's going to be kind of the trust area in the near future. That's how I look at it. But definitely, deep learning, artificial intelligence, they are going to stay here, and we need to be proficient in that. So Sarah has thrown a light on that, and this should help you, some of you at least, to take your future projects in this area. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.